Well, with the release of John Wick Chapter 4, everyone's just absolutely loving it, the action being insane, and once again, people are bringing up on Twitter, on YouTube, everywhere, where is the stunt category for the Oscars? Hey, welcome back to the Hannahcast YouTube channel, and today I'm going to be explaining why I feel like there should be a stunt category at the Oscars. Hey, it's Christian from the future. I'm knee-deep editing this video, and apparently a couple hours ago, the Oscar expert literally uploaded a video on this exact issue and covered a lot of the same points as I did in this video, which is especially awkward because I mentioned the Oscar expert later in this video. So yeah, please don't flood my comments saying, why'd you rip off the Oscar expert? Like, God, I can't do that. I'm sorry. I didn't know he was posting a video about this exact thing. So yeah, after you're done watching this video, check out the Oscar expert's video. He's very cool, he's funny, and so is Brother Bro. Okay, bye. But right now, here is the main thing that I want to discuss. Why stunts should be honored at the Oscars. Stunts are a very, very crucial and integral part to filmmaking. Like, you have to make sure not only that the scene looks amazing from an action standpoint, but you also have to make sure that everyone is kept safe. No one's dying on set or anything like that. But despite being probably one of the most crucial aspects of action filmmaking, they just get no love from the Academy. So much so that there's not even a stunts branch at the Academy. Yeah, out of the 17 branches that the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences have, none of them go to stunts. They even have a branch for public relations. And the Oscar expert even told me that the Academy has 31 members that are stunt coordinators, and he suggested just get more and call it a branch. Which, yeah, that makes complete sense. That's kind of like my biggest thing when it comes to the whole stunt category. It's like, before we do a stunts category, we need to actually give stunt coordinators a branch at the Academy. They can do it if they want. And again, I'm quoting the Oscar expert here. He said, they definitely can do it if they want to. They just need to be convinced it would help their ratings. They likely just don't want to have to air another award for time reasons. Which, yeah, that is probably true and is also complete bullshit on the Academy's part. One of the biggest problems I feel like the Academy is facing nowadays, which they have been fixing this year, because this Academy's ceremony went off without a hitch. But like, for example, in trying to combine best sound mixing and best sound editing into just one single best sound category, which, if you don't know, apparently the Academy forced the sound branch to combine sound mixing and sound editing despite being two completely different disciplines, threatening to remove the sound categories from the show entirely if they did not combine them into best sound. And what puts icing on the wound is that they literally removed the sound category from the ceremony the very next year, along with 7 other categories. Again, this year was a step in the right direction, but I'm really worried that in trying to boost ratings for the Oscars, that they're just diluting the show by not honoring film and the craft of film. Like, that's what makes the Academy Awards so special. Like, that's what makes it more special than any other film award shows out there. Like, it's the industry awarding their peers for excellence. They probably don't want to add another category to the runtime, which just really makes me hope in the future the Oscars can just go to streaming so that they don't have to worry about commercial breaks, so that they don't have to worry about having to fit a certain time slot. Because again, stop focusing on the length of the show and start focusing on the quality of it. And even then, trying to take away categories from the live show, that didn't help anything, did it? Because the show still went on forever because they used that time that they took out of the categories to just put in a bunch of random bullshit that no one cares about. Like the We Don't Talk About Bruno song sequence that was done so horribly. The Academy needs to have a stunt branch. They need to have a stunt stunt branch so that they can actually have a voting base to vote on which are the best stunts. And then that goes to another question that some people raise. How do you know the difference between what is actually a stunt and what is VFX? Well, ironically enough, let's go to how the visual effects branch chooses its nominees. They have a short list of 10 films that will be in the running for best visual effects, and 5 will eventually be chosen by the visual effects branch. Now, what the Academy does, or at least what the visual effects branch does, is that they invite the entire visual effects branch to this bake-off. They basically have the shortlisted visual effects supervisors and a bunch of the other key people involved in the visual effects, and they basically show a clip of the film to show how everything looks and stuff, and then they also have a sort of 3-minute-ish breakdown reel showing how they did the effects. For example, that's one of the reasons why The Lone Ranger ended up getting a nomination for Best Visual Effects at the Oscars, because when the visual effects branch saw their breakdown reel of the train scene and how they pulled that off, that is what made them go, oh my god, like, I didn't know, like, it was this crazy, and that's why they nominated it for Best Visual Effects. Now, how does this relate to stunts? Well, you can just have a short list of films in the running for Best Stunt coordination, and you can invite the stunt branch to one of these bake-off screenings, and they could show some of the key scenes of stunt work, and afterwards show how they did a lot of these stunts and bring in the stunt coordinator to talk about how the stunts were designed, what was replaced with visual effects, what wasn't replaced with visual effects, just discussing all of that so you can have a very clear understanding of why this is in the running for best stunt coordination. And from that shortlist, you pick 5 nominees, or maybe they'll go for 3 to start off with, sort of like how they did with Best Makeup and Hairstyling for a while, and also Best Visual Effects until 2010. But I feel like doing that would very much clear the waters as to how much of a stunt was CGI, and again could also explain how dangerous some of these stunts really were, even if they didn't look that way on screen. And granted, while I sort of answered this already, another question would raise up. Who should win the Oscar for Best Stunt Coordination? And, well, the stunt coordinator. Like, the stunt coordinator is the person in charge of all these people's lives. The stunt coordinator is the one who has to come up with all these crazy stunts and, again, bring the director's vision to life, but doing it in a way that is simultaneously very flashy and exciting on screen, but you're not killing anyone. A couple of other concerns would include, people would only do stunts and risk their lives to win Oscars. And I guarantee you not a single stunt person said this. That would just imply stunt coordinators don't know what they're doing. Safety is literally the job of a stunt coordinator. It's the stunt coordinator's job to make sure everything goes well and looks great and no one gets killed. So I feel like this is just a complete non-issue to begin with. And the final concern that a lot of people have would be there'd just be more populist stuff nominated for Oscars. Who cares? It's Best Stunts, not Best Picture, you dummies. It's like when people complained about The Lone Ranger getting nominated for Best Visual Effects, or The Lion King getting nominated for Best Visual Effects. Who cares if you hate these movies? These movies had some of the best visual effects of those years. It doesn't matter how good or bad the movie is. It's not best movie with visual effects, it's best visual effects. And yeah, you would absolutely see a lot of popular films nominated for Best Stunt Choreography. Like, for example, I think Ambulance could have gotten a Best Stunt Coordination Oscar nomination. The vehicle stunts in that film are absolutely nuts, but no one talks about that film. You should be able to separate the film from, like, this aspect of a film. That's why I've defended Ana de Armas getting an Oscar nomination for Blonde, because Blonde is a piece of garbage film. It is misogynistic. It is just blatantly lying about shit that happened to Marilyn Monroe and pushes really problematic messaging. But that's not Ana de Armas's job in the film. Like, she's not the writer, she's not the director, she didn't do any of that. Like, she was the one that just had to portray Marilyn Monroe. She gave one of the most emotionally resonant performances of 2022. I didn't like Blonde, but that doesn't mean Ana de Armas should get cast away and ignored because of that. Because no, she did give an incredible performance. And the same thing goes here. You know, for example, like Transformers, Dark of the Moon probably would have gotten a Best Stunt Coordination Oscar nomination. And it should, because some of the stunts in that film were absolutely incredible. You would get some wacky picks for Best Stunt Coordination, but that's just how you should do it. You should nominate movies that did the best in that field. And people will try to argue, but Best Visual Effects already represents populist films. You know, why do we need a stunt category for that too? Because you completely misunderstand what the Academy Awards should be about. It's about honoring the craft in film. Like, yeah, you have Best Picture and to some extent Best Animated Feature and Best International Feature and Best Documentary, where you are judging the film by itself. But for something like the acting categories, like visual effects, like cinematography, like score, like song, like makeup and hairstyling, and hopefully one of these days, Best Stunt Coordination, you are judging those crafts by their own merit. Not based on, oh, does it serve the story or anything like that? No. Did they just do the best in that field, regardless if the film itself was good or bad? And there's some stuff that are probably inescapable with separating that from the quality of the film, like directing and writing, because that literally is the film. But again, a lot of these other categories that are separated from that, like acting and a lot of the tech categories, it's like, those are the categories where it shouldn't matter how good or bad the film is. You're judging those technical fields on their own merits, and the same should be applied to stunts. I mean, hell, the worst movie of the year could get nominated for Best Stunts, but if it has some of the best stunts of the year, it deserves it. My question goes to you. What do you think of the idea of a Best Stunt Coordination category at the Oscars? Let me know what you think. I'd like to thank my Ko-Fi supporters, Fudd and Bruni Coaster. And also, if you would do so, please, if you can subscribe, hit that like button and hit that bell icon. That helps the algorithm out a whole lot. If you want to be a member of the channel, we have channel memberships open, and if you do that, you can get some fun emojis, weekly live Q&As, member requested reviews, a bunch of other really cool perks. And if you want to see more, click this.